I got an idea. I want to make an extraction shooter, but there's a twist. It's just co-op, and it's gonna be open source and free to play. So we start up here, Godot. That's the engine that I will be using. Let's create a 3D scene, and this is gonna be our main, let's call it gameplay scene or main game loop. Let's call it the main game loop. We obviously want to add some objects to the scene here. A plane, a simple plane, to have like a ground that we can walk on. Obviously, let's make it a little bit bigger. We also want to add, of course, our character, which is for now just gonna be a Node 3D. I think, yeah, or like a character controller probably should be, is the best thing. We need to add, what do we need to add to that? Collision shape, right? Collision shape. And to that we need to add another shape. It's gonna be the weird spheres for now. Absolute perfection. And of course, gotta raise that up here so it touches the ground, or like it almost touches the ground. Of course, we want to add a script that we call main loop, or what do we call it? Game controller. That's a good naming convention here. Now I gotta look up actually what the conditions are for a looter, like no, not looter shooter, extraction looter. Extraction looter game mechanics. Extraction shooter, drop in, shoot, loot, extract, repeat. Sounds about right. All right. I can wrap my hand around that. Good. Let's make this an extraction shooter, huh? Shall we? We actually spawn where? We spawn. Let's move the ground a little bit over there, just like that. That's what a goal is gonna be. And then we have here a couple of things. We're gonna extend the ground, put in another node, just to clarify this is gonna be all of the environment. And we're also gonna add some other things here. Mesh instance, kabam, 4020, something like that. So this is gonna be the first platform. Then at the end here we have the extraction goal. I should be using actually underscores here just to stay consistent with the naming convention. And this is gonna be just to name everything. We shouldn't forget we always have to name things accordingly, otherwise right now we know, but later on we won't know it. So name things the way they should be named, and then later on you'll have a much easier time. So this is gonna be the collision, the player collider. Where's our extraction point? Somewhere here in the back. Let's pull this here forward. Let's make this a box or something. Perfection. And now I should be able to press that. Woo! And it clips to it. Is the button, right? Is next to the delete. Not the, yeah, next to the delete. Like page down, I think it is. And then you can just like put the object, like snap it to the static object or to any collider I think that is beneath it. Let's make it a pretty color. Pretty color. Let's put some pretty color on here. New standard material. Boom. Let's make it green, I guess. Good. Let's check out our player here. We're gonna make it third person or first person. I'm not sure yet. Both, I guess. But first we'll start off with third person, I think. But I want to implement at some point double functionality for it. Let's not get too creative. Let's make him not gray necessarily. Pink is, maybe not pink. Desaturated dark violet, something like that. We also have to raise him to 1. Yes, and now he is overlapping exactly with that. Perfection. Good. Now we need to add a script to our player. Always recommend when naming scenes or like objects or whatever in Godot that you attach script like at the end of the GD script, because at some point when you serialize things and you start saving them, it kind of can mess up if you just name it player. Because if the same name, like if you have to script the same name as the object or the node itself, sometimes it threw errors. I don't know if they fixed that, but you know, if you name things accordingly, then you can avoid these mistakes. So scripts, name them scripts. If they're resources, you name them resources. If they're just the scripts for the resources, you want to name them something resource script. All right, so you don't have resources named like scripts or nodes named like resources named like scripts. You want to separate these always. That's a good habit. Good. We have our player, and in here we can call them player. Like, okay, so now the script is called player script, but the actual class name and the object is gonna be called player, or the node in that sense, right? And for that, now, what we want to do here is we want to have a resource attached to it that is the player resource. And everything that is information-based or gameplay logic is going to access that resource. And everything that is sort of physics-based and simply player input handling is going to be in the node object. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Now we just got to add here some input bindings for us to be able to move our character, right? So we want to have move forward, we want to move backwards, move sidewards. Wait a second, not sideways. We need move left, move right, move left. Wait, that's not how you write crouch. Crouch, like that. Using Grok to generate a basic template for movement to just, because I'm a little bit lazy. Let's see if this works. Save this, create a new folder called scripts. Oh wait, I don't have a main scene set yet. I don't have a cam yet. Scenes, main game. There you go, that's gonna be our scene. Onto our player, we want to add a cam. No, we actually add a spring arm. No, a node. And then here we add a spring arm. And then here we add the camera. I think, if I'm not mistaken, maybe there needs to be one more. But for now, this should be sufficient, really. Let's pull this back, pull this up here a little bit. Okay, let's see if we can move the player. No, great, didn't work. Bind here real quick our key binds, just because otherwise I won't have anything. Oh shit, wait, here, crouch. Good, let's try that out. I fixed some of the things. I can jump, I can whoo. I'm a bit fast right now. Good, so fix some things here. This is the working code. Like that. Either way, I'm gonna post the repo in the description so you can see it there. Now I just gotta add also camera control so we can rotate our guy and also the camera pitch up and down. This needs to be added. Alrighty, I modified it. So now we have, I added the camera and stuff, and we have some speed. The movement speed is way too fast, by the way. Let's put this to 20. And it looks like this. Now we can rotate the character, and depending which direction we look, we can move around. Look, left, right. Can I jump? Yes, I can jump. Way and whoa. Oh yeah, it doesn't render from below. Now I just want to be able to zoom in and zoom out, because otherwise that's going to be really, really annoying. Good, I have now here the zoom speed and min zoom and max zoom. And added also the ability to exit the game when pressing exit. Here we have that. Let's look at it. I can go forward. I can zoom out. I can zoom in. Ah! I fell again. Fuck. Yeah, but it works. I just gotta add the player UI so we will be able to shoot. And I'm gonna attach it to the player because at some point if I have multiplayer, there is going to be the functionality that like what we render for each player, right? And then if the UI for the player is attached to the player, that will make it a lot easier to simply hide it when it comes to that. So we have the player here, attach a control node to it, and we stretch that out all the way, perfection. And to that we attach a simple texture rect. Little center node, texture rack in there. The center node, we have to modify that here a little bit. Transform, make the size 0 and place that exactly in the center. And then the texture rack is a child of that, and we want that centered. Otherwise, we're gonna have the the corner of the center inside, like the corner of the texture will be in the center, but we don't want that. We want the texture itself to be centered. And that's like a nice little trick that we can use to make that happen. For now, let's not make that overly complicated. Let's just use a gradient texture 2D, remove the one color, make it white, and then make it smaller. That should do the trick. For now, make it 5 by 5 pixels. Why doesn't this work? Ah, here. 5 by 5. And then... right. So that's going to be our little crosshair for now. Let's see if that works. Yep, seems to be working just fine. We have the thing there. It ain't pretty, but it does the job for now, at least. Let me just change the plane color so we can see the crosshair material. Here we want to have the same mat for all the flooring, otherwise it's going to be a little bit of a pain. Good. And then we can use that also for this one, and also for this one, right? And now when we come into the game, beautiful. We can see the crosshair, we can move, we can zoom in, we can zoom out. All right. If I crouch, my speed is reduced like this. It's quite a lot, but we'll fix that. Good. Now we actually want the player to be able to shoot things. So we add a child, which is gonna be the, let's call it a weapon slot or something. It's gonna be a node 3D anyway. Let's place it just here to the right like that. Is that approximately right? Seems to be okay. Let's call it hand. This is gonna be our hand. Our hand needs to have a mesh, right? We call this hand mesh. And this is where our bullet will fly from. I'm not sure if it's going to be a magic user game or if it's going to be guns or whatever, but for now it's just going to be a hand. That's what we have. And we want the radius to be 0.1 approximately, and let's make that 0.2. Sounds about right. Should be the same mat as the player, which means I have to save this. Player color, bit of a tiny hand, maybe make it a little bit bigger. The hand could be a little bit bigger. 0.28 would that be? Yeah, that looks better. Good. We can move it a little bit forward, a little bit down like that. How does that look? Yeah, okay. Good. Now comes a little bit of a tricky part, because we need to add a raycast to our cam in order to find out exactly where we are looking. We want to rotate that so it looks forward, and we want to have exactly how much do we want to have? How long should it be? Well, I mean, theoretically it should be way further, right? It should be very long, because okay, that's about right. Good. Now we added this this projectile right here. It's nothing, it's just a rigid body and a mesh instance and a collision shape on top of that. And I added the script that if it collides with anything, that it just deletes itself basically. And for the player, now I have to implement for me to be able to shoot that thing, which basically means we need to instantiate the projectile and then apply a force depending on which direction the camera looks. But I'm thinking right now, I'm not sure how this goes with multiplayer syncing, if rigid body is such a good idea, or if I should do a character body. But the character body it's just a bit of a pain in the ass to calculate the projectile trajectory and stuff like that. But I think with the multiplayer sync, it would still be better. But let's just do for now with the rigid body, and then we have a hit scan separately for that. And then we also, so I think we will implement 3 different projectile types. One is going to be the rigid body, the other one is going to be a simple hit scan with the raycast, and the other one is going to be a character body 3D projectile that simply moves forward, or maybe I can put some math in there to calculate it, and then we can just pick our poison, I guess. Let me just add a projectile controller for that to have the logic separated. Normal node, and let's call it projectile controller. It's probably a good idea to separate these logics because otherwise it's going to get very, very cluttered, and we don't want that. By the way, I also need to add a timeout timer to the projectile. Maybe timeout was not the best choice of words here. But yeah, now let's call it that. And that's basically just gonna be cube free. So like if I don't hit anything, you know, if the projectile goes into the void, basically, that it still times out after a time, because otherwise it's just gonna be, let's make it 5 seconds, and we do auto start. Yes, because otherwise we will have just a bunch of projectiles that clutter the game, and we don't want that, and it's just gonna be a one shot. Alrighty, so here we have our projectile controller, and basically I added the camera, the main scene where we add the projectiles to the hand location, and the packed scene that is preloaded here. And I added a new action, shoot, which is basically just left click that instantiates that projectile and applies a force to it. Let's see how this goes. We jump, pew. Oh, it always shoots from... It applies the force, but it doesn't apply it from my character, apparently. It just shoots it out of the ground. Okay. Oh yeah, right. When we add the child, we also want to set the position of the new projectile to global position to our the global position of the hand, actually. Global position like that. That should fix hopefully the problem, but it's gonna push me now. Oh shit. Alrighty, I fixed the problem. It was just a reference error here from the hand. So now I set the global position to the hand global position, and yep, that does the trick. And they should disappear after 5 seconds. I think they disappeared, or they went out of range. Anyway, it should be fine. Alrighty, apparently in order for the projectile to be able to contact with the status body, I need to come here into the solver and enable this one, contact monitor. If true, the rigid body 3D will emit signals when it collides with another body. Yes. Maximum contacts, let's go 3. I don't know. I forgot that my player character here is also marked as 1 collision. Let's take that out. This is going to be 2. And now I can shoot, but if I hit the ground, it says colliding down there. I'm not sure, you can't see that, but it prints out in the console that I am in fact colliding, which is great. So if that works. Good, now that we can shoot things, we want to add a game state, like monitor or something, that can be maybe accessed from everywhere, but for now let's just add here a node, and this one is going to be responsible like to check if we have completed the game, whether or not we can extract, if there's like points or like some sort of mission progress that we want to keep track of. This is going to be this, and that's why I think that we're going to make a global class out of it, because then we can reach this basically from anywhere and create also dependencies basically from anywhere. But for now, because we keep it simple, we keep it in the main game loop. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna make it a singleton class. So basically, singleton classes are the global classes that can be accessed from anywhere that have one purpose, and that purpose is going to be the game state. So I'm going to do that now, and let's rename this real quick. Let's just call it game state script. Remove the class name, because you can't have a class name if you have a singleton. We go to project, globals, here, game state script, open that, and it's just going to be called game state. And then we add that. And now, if we have it like this, we can then access this game state from anywhere. So let's try this out just for the sake of trying it out. Ah, okay, they're the controllers. I got scared there for a second because I thought I deleted the controllers, but no, they're under the player. Yeah, I shouldn't forget that. But now, if we come here into the controller and, or no, actually in the projectile, on body entered, and we say if body is target, which we don't have yet, but we will. Then we can say game state dot can extract equal true. So now I was able to basically use that, even though it's nowhere referenced, because we have the singleton, and that's how we can do it. Good. Now we want to create a new node here, which we call target. And the only thing that I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna make like a round thing that we can hit, and that we're gonna call obviously target. And here we're gonna add a target script, and we're gonna name that target, because now in Projectile this should disappear, and it did disappear in fact. And now in the main thingy, if we go to our environment and we add to the environment a target, where is it? Target scene. Let's pull that in here like this. If we add I shouldn't forget to add the static body to it. Where is it? Static body child. There you have it. If I hit it, it should set the game state to true. And let's print this also out here. Print game state is true. That's not really what it's supposed to say, but I come here and I hit it. Obviously it's not working because it is right. The problem is that the collision that it has, the collision is the mesh instead of the static body, not the target. Little bit of an oopsie on my part, so I gotta change that. Very, very simple fix. I just made the object itself a static body and added the collision, the mesh instant and the collision shape below that. And now if I come in here and I throw it, now it shows me it is true. Good. So because that happened, now we have the game state is true, and then we can simply set in our, wait, I need to come to the script here, in our game state, the function that we finished the game basically. Here, what we're gonna do, we're gonna call that once we get to the end, to the end box. And when we go to the end box, we call this, and then it's basically just a UI element that's gonna pop up and it's gonna say, hey, you finished the game. I just realized I think I have to redo a little bit the UI things, because we'll have multiple objects, and if we add multiple players, then automatically the UI elements will be also added. So we don't really want that, because will just clutter each player's RAM basically, and we don't need that. So I'm gonna extract it from the player and create a separate UI controller for that. Good. So now I made this separate node here, the controller node, UI controller, where I put also the player UI and the mission end screen. That looks like this, just mission complete, and then you'll be able to restart it. I'll implement it another time, but that's what it's gonna look like. And now the only thing that I have to do, I have to call this here once the player reaches the end checkpoint, like the extraction point, but I have to check the game state if the game state is has the extraction ready thing, right? This here can extract. If that is false, you won't be able to extract. But if I hit the target, oh, it's in the projectile, right? If I hit the target, then game state can extract is true, and then it should show the UI. So let's implement that. Extraction point back there, hey? Yes. This thing here, and we will have to add a area 3D to that. And we're gonna make it way bigger. A collision shape like that. Let's pull this out like this and add a script to that. Extraction point script. UI name. Wait, I don't need that as of right now. Not yet. Good. Let's see if this works. So we join into the game, come here. Doesn't do anything. Huh. We come here, we shoot the thing. It is true, and fuck. Oh, I think I know what the problem is. The problem is that the area here scans for a certain collision or layer 1. But we want layer 2 because our player is in layer 2. So let's try that one more time. We come here, all the way. Nothing happens. Yes. We shoot the thing. Game said is true. We come here and... Oh man, I flipped it as up again. It's not area on area that I needs to enter. It's actually body entered. That's the thing. On area 3D body entered. Yes. Good. Now we take this thing here. And that should work now. So let's check this out one more time. We come here and it shouldn't work. It doesn't work. Good. We shoot it. And... Woo! Baby! Yes! Nice. Good. So this is the first step, basically. This is the first part of hopefully what's going to be a series. I answered the mission by starting it. I guess I can shoot things and then I can extract. So that's what it said in the Reddit post. That's what I did. And yeah, if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe, I guess. And hopefully I see you next time. Take care.